This is part of a full breakdown that I'm doing on how fitness coaches are making over 10K a week just by leveraging their sales skills and using appointment setters. In this series, I'm going to be walking you through how we run sales calls, handle objections, and leverage financing so that we can still collect payment in full even from the people who can't afford it. This isn't just some helpful tips and tricks. This is actually how I've scaled 40 different fitness coaches to making 20 to 30K a month using their sales skills. So whether you're brand new to closing high ticket or you're just trying to bump up your close rate a little bit, these next few minutes might change everything for you. In this video, I'm gonna be walking you through exactly how I structure sales calls so that we close consistent $2,000 to $5,000 fitness programs, even if you're brand new. We're gonna go over from how we start the calls to the exact framework that I use, to the questions that we ask, to how we pitch the price at the end. I'll show you the same script that we give to all of my clients that are doing over 30K a month with their fitness coaching. Keep in mind, this is actually the video that I have given my clients in the past that have already done successful, and I have revamped my sales school, so I'm repurposing this for YouTube. So enjoy the video. If you can't watch till the end because your attention span's short, then just leave anyway. I don't want you to watch this video because you won't learn anything. But if you really want to learn, stick around, and I promise you that this video will actually change your entire perspective on sales. I've had so many people tell me that it has for them. And so I want you to collect high ticket. If you want to watch it, go ahead, and you are going to crush it. All right, this is probably gonna be my favorite topic that we talk about, which is sales. Because the only two things that you actually really need to do is be posting content and be doing sales at a high level. So what the content is gonna do is it's gonna bring in the leads, and then you're gonna be able to talk to those leads really effectively and professionally, so that when you do hop on any type of sales, whether it be in the DMs or on actual sales calls, then you're gonna be able to position yourself to collect high ticket. And so if you want to make at least 10K per month, you can't be selling $200, $300 coaching plans, because you're going to need to find like 50 people a month just to make 10K, because all those people aren't going to stay on for monthly, and you're going to have so many people to fulfill that it's just going to get messy and you won't be able to give anybody the service that they deserve. So that's why we want to push to charge at least $1,000 at a minimum, so that we can close a deal every 3 days and actually get us to that 10K goal. So you're gonna find that I say a minimum of 1,000, because really when you get better at it, price is just a number. Like when you start getting into your sales calls, if the pain is big enough, if the rapport that was built was strong enough, then you can charge whatever you want. And especially if you're talking to some business owners or people who are way more qualified, which I know like everyone is trying to get to that point, is to talk to people that are more qualified. Just post better content. No, I'm just kidding. Consistent content is important, but it's the brand that you build yourself around. That's what's going to attract the right people, and then you giving results to the people that you want more of. So for example, like we've been able to succeed a lot in our business because we've made the people that we want more of successful, and then they told their friends about us. So similar thing, right, is if you get someone who owns a business, jacked, and you like been there for him, like really helped him with a bunch of stuff, he's gonna tell all of his friends and family that they should go to you. And then all of a sudden now you're closing $2,500 deals left and right from referrals just because of work that you put in the front end. So getting into it is I'm gonna walk you through what to do before your call, how the sales call should be framed, and everything that you should be doing throughout it, so that you feel chill and just confident. Because the best thing that you could do is be confident, not overthink what you're going to say, and actually just make the best situation for both parties. The worst thing you can do is the opposite of all that. So right now, let me double check something. Okay, sick. So whenever I ask you guys specifically what you need help with sales, is that you guys are always talking about how you're not confident in handling objections. And so I completely understand that, and I feel like that's very, very important, almost equally as important as everything that we're going to be talking about right now. But I want you to change your perspective on why you want to be able to handle the objections so bad, because when you do the sales call correctly, you're going to have less objections, and you're not going to need to go to any tactics on how to handle those objections, because you're going to be able to bring up so much of what's happened in the conversation up as the objection handling. Like, let me explain that. It's like,
if you find out someone's problem, you find out why it's their problem, how long it's been affecting them, and why it's been affecting them like that. How does it feel when they are affected like that? And you find out somebody's goal and what it would be like for them to achieve it, and what else in life would be different, who else in their life would be affected. Now you have so much ammo that speaks directly to them. And so whenever you're going to get on that part of the call, then you can just be their friend and be somebody who's more of a consultant than a salesperson. Because let's say somebody needs to think about it. The example that I have that's quick off the top of my head is that maybe we're in this position now because we've been thinking about it for so long. So I don't think that you need to think about it. I think that you need to act now. Obviously that there's like a lot more of a look. Yeah, I'm just going to get into it. But first things first is that you need to be aware of what you're selling. Because most of the sales calls that you guys have is going something like this, where you take a little time to get to know your prospect. You take some general fitness questions and you ask them throughout, and then you make an offer when the prospect isn't really engaged, and then have to deal with objections, and then as a result you don't get them as a client. You schedule another follow-up call that they cancel, or you collect $200 for a monthly fitness plan. All of those suck. So instead of doing that, what you should be doing is all of these things that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to start like way in the beginning, like ground zero, is that before you even hop on the sales call, you want to be able to actually get prepared. So when I look at preparation, I think of it as many things. It's like there is your mood that you need to get prepared for. You need to get prepared with the information that you're going into the call about this person. And then also just like your overall awareness, your overall like energy, and it's different than mood. It's like understanding and like clear-headedness. So we don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to our lowest level of preparedness. So if you are, rushing 2 minutes before the call, you sit down, maybe even like 60 seconds, you open up your laptop, you're like, haven't even looked at any notes and stuff like that. Whatever, you didn't have the greatest day. Now you get on and you think that you're going to close a deal. Probably not. You're not going to be there mentally in order to actually be there to care for this person and not be what you're 100%. And if you don't do that, if you don't show up to a call all prepared, all confident, basically already having, if you believe in God, like I talk to God on a daily, like every hour, basically. Just like a very quick, short 5-second thing, like, God, please bless this, in my head. And if you're not in that zone, then why would you expect to make any money? Like if you're not locked in, and you always talk about being locked in, but you don't lock in, and you think that it's going to be good enough because you're used to doing it the same way of rushing, getting on the call, like it's not going to work. So before you get on the sales call, I look over notes, go over any previous chats that you have that might help you gain a personal edge, and get clear on what you have in mind of what you want to offer this person, time and cost wise. So like 3 months, $1,500, 6 months, $2,500, whatever. And just have a idea of a recommendation before you even do anything. Obviously that might change, like you need to use your intuition on the call, but you also want to be in a very deep state of communication with the person that you're about to take the call with, because this is what prevents them from canceling on you. Or if they do, then it's like a really genuine reason, because you've been talking with them so much prior to the call that they will feel bad if they don't hop on the call, because you're like being so genuine and nice. So yeah, you want to hop on the call with an informed mind, because it'll help you not be so like overthinky, and it's going to make the prospect respect and admire you that you took the time to get to know them, even about little things, without ever asking them yourself. And then finally is just gas yourself up. Like however you get in the zone, do it. Like whatever makes you feel good, do it. If it's, I'm not condoning this at all, but it's something like going outside and smoking a cigarette. I don't do that, but if that's what gets you in the zone, then do it. Like I listen to music. I turn on Gunna recently and play like Hakuna Matata and Him All Along, and it just gets me like fired up. I'm just sitting there like bobbing my head like this before the call, gets me fired up. And then it gets me, I'm always also talking to God, like I said. And so when I have these combinations of things that happen, like Zidane comes in, we dap each other up because we just closed the deal, and now I'm just like on to the next one, you know? My final thing on that is that if you have goals, like big goals, then every little thing in the middle, it doesn't matter. Like I have my long-term goals, I've been saying this right now, is like I want to get a whole cul-de-sac, a whole block of all my people that I love and just have them all living next to each other. And it's just going to be like our little village. And I want to be able to fund a lot of it, if not all of it. And so now, when you close these like $1,500, $2,500 deals, like it's probably going to feel like a big deal to you. But let it go. Like let it go, because if you are stoked about collecting $2,500 one time in a day, it's going to probably prevent you from collecting it 4 times in the day. So you could have a 10K day if you just let go of the shock, the sticker shock of you collecting anything above like $200, because that's what you guys are used to. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Okay, so these are questions that are good to ask throughout your call. What do you do for work? You like it? How long have you been doing it? This is like rapport questions, but it's also qualifying questions, because it just gets them to talk more about it without you asking like pressing questions. Something that I really want you guys to take into consideration is that when you ask a question, you can ask a deeper question about that thing. And if you ask good enough questions, people will start to explain everything about the thing that you just asked. And what that's going to do is give you all the information that you need. Like these sales calls are you extracting information in a genuine and nice way so that you can come up with a solution for this problem. They're hopping on the call with you because they have a problem or a goal that they're trying to get to that they can't go do themselves, which is a problem. Anyway, then that's why you want to be able to get good at asking questions and really trying to read between the lines when this person is saying certain things. Like if someone's telling you what they do for work, how many hours they work at, you can kind of go into your head and like do like a rough estimate of what somebody in that position would make. Then sometimes you don't need to get an exact number of how much this person makes. If somebody's talking to you about how they need to take care of their wife and their kids and the bills and they're stressing about it, they don't have like a new car payment or nothing like that, like you can just take all this information and make a best guess, and you're going to get better at doing it as you go through it. But the other types of questions, obviously, like these are just like fitness questions, and I feel like these are just good to have in the back of your brain so that you can just ask these, and these are like the most basic fitness questions. Like I don't think you should be asking more than this when it comes to fitness, because then it's like an onboarding call. We haven't even gotten them to commit to anything yet. So let's just ask like these surface level questions, and then the frame your sales call should be in, right? Okay, I hopped off the phone with a really, really important person yesterday, and he was asking me about our sales strategies, and the way that I was talking about it with him, I was very clearly making it out to be something that is very emotional based. Like the selling that you're going to do is very emotional based and very belief based. So he asked me, do you really not share your screen and not show him any training plans, any meal plans, nothing like that? And I just said no. That is not what I teach my guys to do, and that's not what we do, because no one is going to pay $2,500 for a training plan. That's not how that works. The whole point is of them believing in you that you will get them to their goal. That's worth $2,500. The feeling that they're going to get when they achieve their dream weight and be able to fit into their pants in high school, like that is what somebody would pay $10,000 for. So we're not selling training plans, we're not selling programs, we are selling transformation, confidence, and overall just life being changed. So I had to break that down like that. But moving into the frame of the sales calls, first impression is going to be the outcome of the call. Like if you don't have a good first impression, it is going to be so difficult for you to make up for that you could spend 5 minutes trying to recoup from that, and it just wouldn't work. And plus, the first impression really just like brings out that mood out of the other person. So if you hop on and you're just like monotone, like, yo, acting like this is like your 10th call of the day, this person's not going to give you anything. You need them to be able to have at like the same frequency as you. You are the one that's controlling the call, and you are the guide that you're taking them onto this journey of the sales call. So when you get on, make sure that you have, like, that's why we did everything, the pre-call, to get our energy up, to get our mood up, because it actually makes all of the difference. Like, it makes all the difference, because this person might be having a bad day, and you being that person, that light in their life right off the rip, is just going to put that in association with you, that every time they talk to you, their mood gets elevated. And it's just something else that they need in their life. So you're already positioning yourself like step ahead, whereas otherwise you're fumbling it. Like, you're not gonna get anything from that call. You're gonna waste everybody's time, and you're just gonna be worse off for it, because you're gonna get off another deal not closed. You're not gonna like keep going. So, okay. Right away, for the first impression, my advice is that when you get on the call, right, I'm always just ready, basically. I am always like, never on my, if I'm on my phone or something, I don't like hop off and just like, yo, how are you? How was your day? That, even that like sounded kind of sweet, better than probably what you guys are doing, but I'm just kidding again. But when you get on, right, you want to be able to look for anything. Look for it in the background, look at what the watch they're wearing, look at what's on their shirt, look at their hair, like whatever it is that you notice genuinely. Can't be like a fake compliment. If you get on and you see someone with a fresh cut, and be like, dang bro, who cut your hair? They'd be like, my dad. And you're like, bro, can you cut my hair too? Just start joking and laughing and just create that vibe, is what I'm trying to say. So another thing is like anything in the background. For some of our guys, when we hop on, some of them will have like some trophies or some banners about the gym, or like past like gym moguls, and I've just complimented them on that. Like, dang, are you like, you have a home gym in your house? Like, and they're like, no, I'm in my bedroom. And like the whole point, right, is like, I knew it was his bedroom, bro. But the whole point of me saying that is just like, now it's just like a great vibe. It's a great little thing to point out, and that's a great vibe. So what I like to do is I have these steps in the call that are routine to me. So I don't have a script. I barely even have a framework at this point, because of how wild all the calls get, and I'm just very good and confident now, and I feel like I'm able to teach a framework that used to work for me. It makes sense. And you're gonna get to a point, like, I'm no way a master at anything, but I'm so confident that it's like, I feel like that, like sensei, like I'm just like chill. I think is like, when you get good at sales, you understand that there's so many things that are out of your control, and so the things that you can control, you should just really hone in on that, and then it actually results in you being able to control the whole conversation. So this is like, relates to anything, like talking to strangers in real life, talking to girls, talking to your fam, talking with when you're negotiating a apartment rent deal, a car, anything, is like, if you understand how to ask those good questions, and you're calm, collected all of the time, and you understand psychology, it's game over. You get everything you want all the time. And so if you know that it's not going to happen, then you can hop off the call, no harm, no foul, and you did everything that you could to be able to move that deal forward. You either collected a deposit, you either scheduled a call, you either handled objections and set the tone and standard of what they should do from here. And you tell them, like, regardless of if you're going to work together or not, you have to be a leader in that way. So if you want to be a fitness coach and you want to be like doing all these things at a high level, you need to be able to act like it. So the routine that I get into, the couple of things, right, is like, this is an example, is I say, okay, sweet, I have a call booked right after this. We only have like 30 minutes together. Is it cool if we just jump straight into it? This is a like total sales tactic thing. I think it like really like gets them locked in, gets them paying attention. It's like, oh yeah, this is like a sales call, because I take it so nice afterwards that, yeah, whatever. But whenever I say this, I know it's a game on in my head. Like I've started, basically. And then the first thing that you have to get clear on is the ideal outcome of the call. You asking what their ideal outcome of the call is, after you build a little bit of rapport, is you immediately taking control. You ask the first question, and it's a good one, because what they're going to talk to you about is something about what they're trying to solve. Like, it sets the stage and gets you to be able to go through all their goals, the problems, and the gap between the goal and the problem, hopefully at a deep level right away. But if not, then this is your opportunity, right? It's like, there's only a handful of things that you should be getting deeper on. This is one of them. The why is one of the most important parts, because it's their words of what they need help with. So everything that you want to recommend to them, like, throw it out the window, because they're telling you everything that they want to buy. That's why when we get to the offer part, you guys are going to see that there is no offer. The offer is what they said. Like, the offer is, I'm going to help you solve this problem that you said to me before. We're never going to have to deal with that again. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And then that means that you're going to be able to get to this goal that you said that you want to get to in this amount of time. And we're going to do that with ease because of the training that I'm going to give you, and the attention and the confidence and everything. And then that means that this gap, and you have to verbally, like, visually say that, is going to be the offer. Okay. So getting into it, right? After we made the first impression, after we figure out why we're on the call, the next thing is the problem. What is the problem that they're facing right now? And you need to get clear on this to the point where you understand it better than they do. You know, like, some people might understand that, yeah, like, they're overweight, but they don't think about what's happening with their heart right now. What the actual, like, repercussions of doing this is. How detrimental it is when every time that they have that soft drink or that meal, like, every day, and they just don't view it as a big of a problem as you know it is. So with that being said, you don't want to be dropping perspective and dropping, like, oh, you know how serious that is all the time. You want to be doing that at the end when they built that trust with you and they're receptive to it. So that's why when you go through all of this, it's so important that you can drop perspective bombs. You can be cheeky and say some certain things, but just shut up and listen. Just be really good at asking questions and then relating throughout it, instead of trying to give advice throughout it. You know? So when you're good at asking questions, you're good at getting on and being able to build that connection, what it's going to do is at the end of the call, they're sitting there, they're ready to hear the offer. They feel like you have taken the time to understand them, because you have, and you should. And so now, when you've had 20 minutes of deep research about this person, and why and what about everything, and how, and when you get deep on all of the questions of, like, the why, the problem, the goal, and the gap, then you can start to make your offer. And so some things specific about the problem is, like, how long have you been dealing with this? Why is it such a problem? And, like, how much does it affect all the things happening around you in your whole other life? How would they feel how do they feel when they think about this problem staying the way that it is? How would they feel if in 6 months nothing changed? Like, you asking those questions actually gets someone to sit there and think, and that you cannot help but feel a certain type of way when you think about it, because it sucks. It really sucks. And they probably, like, push it away and don't think about it because of how much it sucks. So then the goal, once you have a deep understanding of what their problem is, then you can move on to their goal. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a completely straight line like this, but the reason why it's not going to be is because you asking the question, for example, like, why are we on this call, is like, they might not tell you about their problem. They might start talking about the goal. And if they're talking about the goal, don't feel like you need to jump to the problem to then go back to the goal. Just get everything cleared up about the goal. Because the whole point, right, is, like, whatever the journey that you take them on is that you want to be able to confidently checkpoint each section. And you just need to get clear on their problem, their goal, and the gap. And so if they talk about the why, the goal, and then the problem, and then you can find the gap, who cares? Just get through the call, but don't be bouncing around subjects. Just make sure that you checkpoint clear everything it is that you need to understand about their problem before their goal, or everything about their goal before you start bringing up any problems. So then the goal, after you figure out what their goal is, you need to get to know as much as you can about it without asking too many questions or sounding too like just asking meaningless questions. So what specifically do you want me to help you with? And just go fully into that. That's a great thing to say because it's just such an authority builder and it will give you so much information off of the rip. Why is it so important that you achieve that? What else would be affected if you achieved it, and how great would life be? How long has this been their goal? And then you can start getting into plateaus, talking about that. What would happen if they achieve it? How would they feel? How would life change? What timeline do you expect to achieve that in? And now there's probably a decent gap of where they are and where they want to be. And so this is where we get into clarifying the gap. The way that I see it actually now is like, the problem and the goal, they can mix match, but everything else is actually a straight line, and it does happen the same way for me. Because you asking, so why haven't you been able to clear this gap? And you actually visually and verbally saying, right, is like, why haven't you been able to do it? How long have you been trying to do it? And at this stage, it should be like 10, 20 minutes into the call, and you need to seek to understand what the gap is so that you can bring the problem to light and get them to agree with you that yes, this is exactly what I'm saying. This is exactly what I mean. Because if you clarify the gap and you don't ask for confirmation on if that's right, then it's just your perception of what the gap is, what their problems are and what their goals are. Like, you don't know if it's actually what they're saying. So just ask them like that if you're right. Ask them not so much that it's to get annoying and like it seems like you're really being annoying, mirroring and asking the same question like, oh, is this it? But like, it's so good to get confirmation. So as soon as you've made all of these assumptions and you've got on all this information, towards the end, you should ask for confirmation that you are right in saying that this is the problem, this is why it sucks so much, and this is where they're trying to get to. This is how their life would change. Did I get that right? So you see how it's just like, now if somebody were to say that to you and they were to actually take the time and lay out your entire like desires and problems, you're just going to be like, damn, like this guy's good. This guy gets me. And that's why you can collect like the high ticket. But once you clarify the gap, then a really great question to ask to get into actually making your offer is, why would you potentially look to hire me? Or when you're hiring me, what specifically do you need coaching? That's like I'm going to focus on this question right now. Why would you look to potentially hire me as a coach? Every single time we ask this question, like you can ask, like I'm trying to get you guys all connected anyway, so make sure to hit up me to get connected with any of the other people that we work with, because you guys can all help each other all the time and give each other personal stories and experiences and whatever. But why would you look to potentially hire me as a coach is a great gateway into making your offer, because they're going to gas you up. It's a guaranteed gas up question, because you're going to get into it and or you just ask a question and they're going to get into why you're an expert, why you've been doing this for a long time, why you have the following that you do, and how much you know. What you're going to say in response to that is something along the lines of, wow, I'm so happy you said that. If they really gas you up, then just say thank you. Take the time, bask in the gratitude, and just say like, thank you so much. Like I don't even remember the last time someone's like spoken to me like that. Like that actually made my day. Thank you so much. And then you can say, wow, I'm so happy you said that, because this whole time we've been talking, I've been making the perfect game plan for you in my head on how to get you to that goal that you talked about. Say it, the specific thing. Is it cool if I tell you about it? Now you saying that, it gets their ears perked up, because you just said this entire time you've been thinking about them, and you have the exact game plan for them to reach their exact goal that they told you, and you're about to tell them. Like, now they're ready. This is the whole thing that they've been waiting for. So this is the moment. This is the most important part of the call. This is how you make your offer. I feel like 28 minutes in is crazy to be getting into this point, but building the vision for the transformation in the offer is going to be like, you're about to smash it. Like if you've been paying attention, you've been asking all the right questions, and you've been getting so deep into this call, then you're going to know exactly what to say. Because what you need to say is that you are going to get them to, you're going to get them from their problem. Okay, I'm going to actually type this out real quick. All right, so this is like a really rough draft. I'm actually kind of like rushing to get off here right now. But I am trying to make it so that's like quick, easy to understand. Is like when I think about you guys making the offer, it's going to be something along the lines of, so what we're going to do is make sure that you never deal with these things, and you go in depth of the problem, everything that you feel like is going to mean the most to them from what you've paid attention to. And I'm going to show you exactly how myself and all my clients have just stomped all of it out and never had to deal with it again. Okay? It gives like so much confidence that you actually know what you're talking about, because it's like you've gone through it, your clients have gone through it, and we figured out how to just crush it. Then we're going to get you to X goal in Y time frame. We're going to get you to that 20 pounds of muscle gain in 3 months by doing this and going to depth about this, going to depth into Y, like the other variable, and then the training plan, this specific thing, yeah. And then you say, how does all that sound? Once you get like good confirmation that they're like, yeah, that sounds great, and you said it in a way where it wasn't boring, that it was something that was interactive, because throughout this you can say like, so what we're going to do is make sure that you never deal with these things, blah 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 blah, ever again. I'm going to show you exactly how myself and all my clients just stomped all that out and never had to deal with it again. Like, how big of a change would that actually make for you? Like if we did actually sort that thing that you were talking about, you'd be like, wow, I mean, it would change a lot. But because you've asked that question in between your offer, like it's just so much more powerful than you reading off like a presentation. So after they've responded, now you can get into their goal. So then we're going to get you to the 20 pounds gained in 3 months by doing this training plan that like has this specific thing. Have you ever done something like that? And be like, no, or yeah, I tried doing something like that, and you'd be like, perfect. So that means that you're going to hop right into it with no hesitation, no roadblocks. And then we're going to do this meal plan. What did you say that was like the best, your favorite food that we have to fit in? They'd be like, oh, like I love burgers. And you'd be like, bro, I love burgers too. And then you just keep going into it, right? Then you say, how does all that sound? This is probably going to be like a few minutes. And then after they'd be like, I mean, shit, bro, that sounds really, really good. And you'd be like, okay. So then what that's going to be is for the next 3 months, in order for me to be able to train you every single day, it's going to be $1,500. It's going to be $1,500. This is like, I always have trouble of being informal, especially during these times. But you should take a little bit of a frame and just say, right, so I can't wait to get started. For the next 3 months, it's going to be $1,500. And then shut up after you say the price. You have to be silent no matter how long. Do not speak after. Let them think about it. Let them think about it and let them respond, okay? No matter how long it is, I'm serious. I've waited over 2 minutes on a call before, and we ended up closing. But could you imagine if I had said something while he was thinking? Probably wouldn't have closed. So just make sure that this is the only rule, that for real you cannot break this rule, because they will say something. Like they will. They have to. It's their turn in the conversation. Okay. I want you to read all of that again, and I want you to envision you having a sales call while you're reading all of it. Get on initially, compliment their shirt, build a little rapport, ask where they're from, ask what they were doing before they got on the call. Then you start saying something like, so, just to be out of respect for both of us, that's not how I'd say it. Just say like, so I'm just curious, like, what was the reason for taking the call today? What would be your ideal outcome for you leaving this call? Then build off of what their response says. Make sure that their goal is aligned with your offer at the end of it, because it is their goal anyway. And then don't let someone take you for a ride. Like if someone keeps showing you reasons that they're not going to buy at the end of the conversation, like somebody says, like, this is why I put this here next, is because if you ask someone what their ideal outcome is for the call, and they just say like, oh, I just want some advice, that's not a good sign. Because even though that makes it seem like, okay, cool, like this person, I can give them advice, is like, we don't give free advice. So just make sure that you don't like automatically disqualify them right after that, but be weary of continuing this conversation for more than 5 more minutes. Like, you should be taking control and ask questions that are kind of like a little bit more pry in the beginning. Like, oh, what do you do for work, you know? Like, how much do you make? And if they're like, oh, like, it's kind of a personal question, you just be like, you know, like, if that's personal to you, then I'm gonna be sorry, but when we start working together, like, I'm just gonna be telling you everything happening in my life. There's gonna be a boundary, but it's gonna be very thin because I'm so open. Anyway, the point is that don't let someone take you for a ride, and be confident. You're gonna be booking in sales calls over and over again. So this one sales call, even though it deserves all your full attention and all of your full like effort, don't be desperate to close the deal. You're the expert, you're the boss, and you are the value thing that they're trying to get to. So, okay. Then you just go through the whole thing, right? Everything that we just talked about. But the biggest thing is that make sure you understand each thing deeply before moving on, because this has to be a straight line journey of some kind. If you're going back and forth across topics, it's going to be a confusing experience, and a confused mind always says no. And then after you state your price, assuming that you did everything correctly and like to the best of your ability and to the fullest extent, deepest understanding, then now we handle objections and close. But I hope you can see how if you were to do all of that at a high level and you were able to create this environment where they felt comfortable, shared a lot of things with you, and you were able to bring up that perspective, paint that vision of what it would be like if they were to continue down this path with these struggles and how much life is going to suck. Or if you wanted to take the other vision and build their dreams and their desires and make them see how awesome it's going to be when they hit those goals. And so you just have to make that conscious decision. You can talk about both, obviously, but like if you can see that this person has been talking to you about what they've been struggling with the entire call, like that's what they're focusing on, then you should just dive deep into the pain point and actually just make them feel how much it's going to suck. And then if they've only been talking about the desires and the goals, then build off of that and like make sure that that's what you make the perspective clear for. But most important part is that whatever it is, that this is a super emotional thing. And so just get them to feel as much of it. And you can ask questions like, how does that make you feel? Because they're going to be either sunk down or they're going to be hyped. So it's just one or the other, or both. But just make sure that it is something along the lines of either one of those. Okay, so that was all of the meat of the sales framework and like the sales strategies. There's going to be more videos like this, but the next one that I'm going to make is talking all about how to handle objections. So, and basically close the deal if it's not just like a lay down close. So I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to get back into it, and yeah, just go crush it. Make sure that you guys are actually positioning yourselves to collect 10K.